Okay, I'm here with Delmar Calvert, who has just been inducted into the Hall of Fame last night in our Hall of Fame ceremony for 2011. And I'm also here with Bradley Thomas, who made the trip here from Hawaii to watch his coach go into the Hall of Fame. So first I've got a question for you, Maître Calvert. Tell me about when you first came to the United States. How did you first start coaching?
Well, I started coaching in a very bizarre way. I was going to college and I was majoring in music, and I was just graduated, and therefore I was frequenting a artistic type of group. So they invited me to see Henry IV of Shakespeare. So I accepted the invitation, and while the play was going on, there's a fencing scene, and I was sitting in the audience, and I said, "My God, this is horrible fencing." Well, it happened that the director of the play was sitting next to me, and he tapped me on the shoulder and says, "I'm the director of this play." He says, "What you just said is not very nice. Who are you to say it's not good fencing?" I said, "Well, I'm a fencing master, and I know fencing, and I'm certainly sorry to have hurt your feelings, but I'm willing to offer my services and improve the part." And he was very receptive. He said, "Well, could you come tomorrow and show us the difference?" So I came the following day, and they were using swords made out of steel plates. And I said, "You're crazy, you're going to kill each other." We practiced a little bit, and they knocked half of one of my tooth. Cut it. So that was the first day. The second day, I went the evening when they were playing, and I'm sitting, and this time one of the actors was sitting with me. He said, "Hey, it was good that you directed fencing." So one guy is next to me. He stops me on the shoulder. He says, "My name is Nate Shapiro, and I'm a fencer, a regular fencer. It's true that you're a fencing master?" I said, "Well, yeah, I guess so, I am." He said, he said, "That's exactly what we need, because our coach is retiring and we have no coach. Would you like to come and coach in our club?"
And what was his club?
And the club was in Chicago on the Michigan Boulevard, and it was called the Chicago Fencing Club, of course.
And you know who was his coach who was retiring? Do you remember?
I don't remember his name. I really don't remember, because I met him very shortly, and he disappeared. I think he got tired of fencing. He jumped on a horse. He took out of the place.
How long did you stay in Chicago?
I stayed, 7 years in Chicago, and I fenced. After that, I had my own group, Sal Calvert. And by the third year of my coaching, we became Midwest champions in 3 weapons.
Fabulous.
And I had a star fencer, Larry Silverman.
I know him.
Who was not only a star fencer of mine, but my friend. I loved the guy. He was a wonderful person. So Larry Silverman qualified on the team of Pan American Game, and he also was in the finals in New York, where it was Axelrod and Buchan's, and he was in the finals of 6 in those days. We didn't have the D's in those days. And on the second bout, Buchan's accidentally hurt his wrist badly. So he took, I think, 5th place because of the injury. He had to bandage his wrist and all that. We were fencing at 1 o'clock in the morning, because the hotel in New York, we started at 7:30 or 8 o'clock in the morning, and then the air conditioner went the hell out of there.
No sounds great.
In New York, 90 degrees, humidity, etc. And So that's how I started the fence.
Now, what year did you end up at the Los Angeles Athletic Club?
Okay. I built my reputation in Chicago. I attracted attention. So the coach of the athletic club was retiring. His name was Mori, a Japanese coach.
Taro Mori.
Taro Mori was retiring. And one of my ex-fencers who was French, Clavier, épée fencer, happened to have moved there and joined the athletic club. So he wrote me a letter. He said, would you like to come here and coach? We offer you the job, and also we offer you a job at USC.
Ah.
He said, you will be able to make a living. So at the time I was working as a social worker for the department in Chicago as a social worker, the welfare department. So my wife hesitated because she said, you're not going to make a living that way. And I said, I trust the gods of fencing, I will. So
What year is this about?
I left in 1962.
Okay.
So I went to there, and when I arrived, of course, I found out it was a catastrophe. It was only a part-time job, and the USC thing was a fabricated invention of some idiot, excuse me.
Understood. There are a lot of fabrications.
Yes.
Let me ask Bradley a question now. Hang on one sec now. So Bradley, when and how did you meet Delmar Calvert?
Well,
How did this get started?
first of all, in '68, I saw the '68 Mexico Olympics. They happened to show a brief little bit of fencing, and it was something that attracted my attention.
How old were you at that point?
I believe I was 8 years old, and it was something that I said, I'd like to do this. And my dad was a member at the Los Angeles Athletic Club, and I was taking pool swimming lessons. And me and my brother just happened to be sitting in the gym waiting, and we seen the fencing going on. And I approached Delmar and asked if we could start learning how to fence. And he's basically told my brother that he was too young. He was 6 at the time.
Right.
That the youngest he wants to take him is like 8. Yeah. And basically at that point, that's where it all started. You know, I just got lucky to be at the right place at the right time.
Now, when you won the foil, épée, and saber all together at the Junior Olympics, was that '73?
That was 1973.
And you won multiple more titles in doing this, and then you made the World Championship team?
About 4 or 5 times.
4 or 5 times. When you look back at your career, is there anything that sticks out? Moments that you keep in your head?
Just being able to spend the quality time with Delmar. He wasn't just a fencing master. He was more of a friend, a colleague, my father. He was like a second father to me. And I love him very much, and I'm very happy, for him to receive this honor.
Is there a way you could characterize your game as a fencer? Did you have more of an offensive game? Did you have little disengages? Did you do certain types of moves that you can remember that you liked that were most effective for you?
A lot of it was just the timing and the explosiveness of the attacks.
What kind of attacks did you like?
Fleshing. Just the explosion of just out of nowhere, just hit your opponent. Yeah.
Did you like to use any big second intention types of games? Was there anything you did? Did you do a lot of invitations?
A lot of my competitions, a lot of winnings was when I was able to make the timing of the counterattacks, which was very rare in saber, because usually saber was just boom, and a lot of it was I learned to basically block out the blade and hit them with the point, which is very rare in saber.
So you really
Back
did
then,
oppositions.
a lot of opposition and with the point.
That's fabulous.
And it kind of threw people off a little bit because it was more like foil.
How did your parents feel about your success or your involvement with fencing?
They were 100% behind me in everything, you know, traveling to all the events and supporting me financially, you know, to travel. It was great expense to travel to all these competitions. A great sacrifice from them.
Is it funny for you to be back here looking at all this and being involved at the fencing for a weekend?
Yeah, it's my last nationals was in 1981, and it's great to see the program, especially the junior program, has evolved and gotten so big.
Yes.
To what it is. I'm just like flabbergasted that how big it's gotten. And this is not even the whole nationals, you know, all together as one package.
That's
you know?
right.
So I mean, this is great. You know, it's great for American fencing, and now you know, it's good to see that the program, seen where it had started back in '73 to now, it's fabulous. You know, and I see only better and greater things for the American program internationally now. It's not just here in the U.S. where people are doing good. They're actually expounding and doing good internationally.
That's right. Well, thank you very much. And Delmar, one more question for you, sir. When you look back at all of these years of teaching, because you were at Santa Cruz, how long were you there?
Santa Cruz, 9 years. Yes, and when I was at Santa Cruz, it was a non-athletic university. But we were, I'm going to brag a little bit, there was a championship between all the universities of California, and we were undefeated 7 years.
That's amazing.
7 years. And finally, mysteriously, they retired the trophy.
That's funny.
It's very funny. I had a group they were not fanatically inclined to be athletes, but somehow they had tremendous spirit. And I had, of course, a few fencers who came who did previous fencing elsewhere, and I improved their games. And we did very well. And I will brag about the last thing, and pardon me if I do that, because I think it was extraordinary. We beat Air Force Academy in Stanford 2 times.
From Santa Cruz.
And our division was Division 3, and they were, of course, they could recruit anyone. We could not recruit because Division 3 you cannot recruit.
That's amazing. Well, you should be proud of that.
I am proud and proud of my fencers. They deserve a great
Absolutely.
respect.
Well, we're all proud of you. Delmar Calvert, thank you very much. And again, Bradley Thomas, thank you very much.
Thank you.